Hello, everyone. Welcome to the call. How's everyone doing?
Welcome.
Yep, welcome. I'm just going to play my favorite game of watching the admit all button and let people in for the next couple of minutes, and then we'll get this call started in earnest. But welcome. Hey there, Tom. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have 20 people on the call.
Yes. Yeah, I'll just wait another minute or two here and keep admitting people, and then we can start the call officially.
Shelly, since you are up first, do you want to pull the screen share up? Get that up first.
Great. Welcome, everyone. It's just about 11:03. Let me just click admit all on a few more people here. There we go. All right. We have about 40 people on the call, so let me get it started. Again, welcome, everyone. It's good to see so many people on the call. It's the May monthly community YMCA's digital services call, and we're looking forward to sharing with you where we're at with roadmap and development status and what we have planned going forward. So without further ado, I'm going to quiet up and turn over the floor to Kylie and Shelly. So please take it away.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. We've got a couple different items for you, Shelly. If you want to bring up the agenda for us, we'll walk them through that quickly. Awesome. So this morning, we're going to just talk a little bit about preparation for your upgrade to Layout Builder. Shelly's going to walk you through the process of what a lazy migration could entail from a pretty high level. We have the June release, the upcoming design system releases that are going to come through. We've had to do some reshuffling. We promise this will be the last time, so we wanted to walk through that with you guys today. As well as the upcoming September and December releases. Avi's going to take you through the Google Analytics 4 because many of you may have seen a very terrifying clock that showed up recently. And so we want to walk through that particular one. Andrei's got you some security updates, and then we'll get you on your way after you have any questions that you may ask. But always, as always, feel free to ask questions in the chat throughout, or just raise your hand or yell at us, and we're happy to help and participate. Shelly, go ahead.
Okay, oops, sorry about that. Mouse is a little sensitive here. Okay. So as everybody's aware, we are moving from an older Drupal component-based system called Paragraphs into a more user-friendly content administration interface with Layout Builder. And at the same time, we'll also be moving the distribution into a design system. And part of this process over the next year or so will be taking your existing content on your website and moving it into the newer components that we've built and the design system. So there's a bit of a process involved in how we're going to do this. And let me just move my window here so I can actually read my slides. So as we're preparing to move everything on your site into Layout Builder, there will be an audit and review process of your website's content that you'll want to undertake. And essentially what we'll do is provide you a high-level spreadsheet that will allow you to identify the key pages in your website and easily lay out how you can move from one piece of content or one set of content to another. So what we've done here is we'll give you an overview. This spreadsheet will give you an overview of how your website is structured. So what you can do is you can do it in multiple ways. You can kind of look at your website and go through your menus, or you can go into the Drupal administrative backend and start looking at the pages, the key pages on your website. And this is going to be a very important process because it will allow you to get a good measure of what you have existing on your site, what those key pages are, key content types. You can also locate content that's outdated, maybe duplicated, or needs further review or consolidation. So it's a great time to kind of go through your site, see what you've got in regards to content, and then figure out how you want to take that content and maybe upgrade your site a little bit, maybe make things a little bit more modernized and kind of move everything into this new system. And another big part of this will also be identifying commonly used page components, and that will be the core of this exercise. Oops, sorry about that. So we've got some key links that over the next few months, I think we'll want you guys to start familiarizing yourselves with the new Layout Builder components so that you can see on your existing site what that might look like as you translate it into this new system. And then you'll probably want to get things organized. So if you have new content that you'd like to put into the site, you'll want to think about how that new content will fit into these new components and where that content might want to live on your website. You'll also want to identify those key pages like your home page, maybe some top level program pages or other pages that are really important to your website, and start thinking about how you're going to move from one to the other. And then the last piece will be to create a plan and decide which pages you want to build first. And typically, a lot of times we like to go from the most to least complex, because that way you get the hard stuff kind of out of the way first and you become familiar with how Layout Builder actually works. And it'll be a much easier process to just kind of go through and say, oh, now we've got hard pages and then easy pages. So typically we like to start with some of the more complicated pages so you can kind of learn that process a little bit. So very briefly, I'd like to kind of show you what I do when I'm looking at a YMCA website and evaluating it to see what components in Layout Builder I might utilize as I'm site building. So let me quickly pull up a link here, and I apologize. I'm going to pause my share for one moment. And out here, I will do a new share. And here we are. Okay. So you might recognize this website. This is the ymca.org website. So
We can
thank
see
you.
your website.
Oh, you can't see my screen? Oh, I'm sorry.
We looking at the slide. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. There we go.
It's just a little bit slower, I think, behind you, Shelley. So just give it a sec. Apologies,
Okay.
guys. We are not on the strongest internet today. We're in a hotel on a work trip, and it's just not as quick as we had hoped.
Okay. Let me know if you are seeing my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we have the YUSA site up.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So we are on the YUSA website, and I've picked a page here, just a random website page. It's not necessarily an important page, but I think it reflects really well how you would evaluate your website to say, this is a component that I have on my current site, and this is what it would equate to on Layout Builder. So as you can see, we've got some pretty common page elements here. We have our breadcrumbs here at the top, along with our menu and header here. And we also have this hero area, which is a large image with a caption and a call to action sometimes. So this is our hero banner, is typically what we refer to this hero area as. Then we have a section here that's a main page content that we would call a simple content or WYSIWYG, where you can just enter in as much text as you would like in this section. So if you want a longer piece of text here, you can absolutely do that. Right now, we're just using kind of a small component here. This next component, as you can see, we've got some statistics here about the Ys. And so we've built a component for you to be able to display statistics on the site. So you would, if you would like to display this particular component on this page on your new site, you would basically copy this content over from the related paragraph into the statistics layout builder component that we've built. And so it's very one-to-one translate for a lot of these components. As you go down here, you can see we have these, what we call ping pong blocks, where you have a text on one side and an image on the other, and it flip-flops. And so, okay, now we have got ping pong blocks. So you can kind of say, okay, now we have ping pong blocks on this page. So if I want to move these ping pong blocks over, this is the component that I would use on the new layout builder page. Again, this is another WYSIWYG, so just a general area of text with a header and basic stylized text here. The next component is actually one that we've done a nice redesign of, and it is a testimonials component. So you'll have a section where you could have quotes and testimonials from actual YMCA members and maybe staff or any other thing like that. So we have a related component for this as well. This is a component that's currently not in the distribution, so I'm going to skip by it for the moment. And then at the bottom here, we have another component, which would be our card component in the new layout builder. So what we're doing is taking our pages. We're not worried about what the content is as much as we're worried about what the components are and what they might look like or what they might translate to in the new site. So very, very briefly here, and let me know if you can see a spreadsheet now. Anyone? Spreadsheet? Yes. Okay, great. So I've created this template that you can use to start to gather some of these components and figure out what your page structure looks like. So you have your levels of the website, your first level, second level, and you can start to really organize your pages and figure out what you have and get a good overview of your content. And I would recommend content audits. It's something you should probably be doing yearly, maybe even twice a year if you have the capability, just to make sure that your content is fresh and still relevant. So what I've done here is just a couple of example pages like the homepage, where I've just grabbed some of these components. I've just looked at the page and said, okay, what is this component? And part of this process, again, will be your team familiarizing themselves with the new layout builder components. And we've got great documentation that we will share also at the end of this presentation that can take you back to these new components and show you exactly what they will look like on the new site. So I did want to keep this very high level for now. We are going to record an additional video of what this lazy migration process might look like using an association website. And so, yeah, we've got more information coming on this down the line. So if you feel intimidated right now, I understand it's going to be a bit of a process, but we're here to kind of help you guys through it. And we, again, have quite a bit of time. I think Kylie can speak a bit more to how long we have for this process. I think a little bit over a year to kind of do this lazy migration. So yeah, that's basically that for this portion of the presentation. And we'll come back to this piece probably again, I would say maybe later in the year, and have more in-depth discussion, and potentially, if we feel the need, maybe a workshop to kind of run you guys through this process. So from this point, I will hand it back off to Kylie, and we will talk about our next release.
Great. Kylie had to rejoin, so she should be coming online. Right.
Okay, no problem. You know, I can do this part.
I got it.
Awesome. I was just going to steal your thunder.
Perfect. No, it's you're welcome. Internet is not as fun as it wants to be. Awesome. Thank you, guys. June, can you change to the next slide for me, please? All right, so for June, we're still on target for our Drupal 10 release. That will be coming out in June as planned. But as I said at the start of the call, we're going to have some changes in our release structure. And that's predominantly with relationship to the design system. So for the Layout Builder version 3, we will still be giving you guys your menus and global elements that we showed you last time. Locations will be coming with the toggle that we had demoed where you can keep that going, as well as articles and events. And then a brand new donation component will be coming as well with that system. We're going to give you the first of 3 versions of the design system as part of this, which we're going to go through in a second. We are working on a fix for responsive, image cropping and focus. And then we've completed the accessibility audit. So we're going to go through that as well. So can we go to the next slide? We'll take a look at what we're going to deliver. Awesome. So what we have had to do from the design system, and this is the piece that we showcased you guys last week that does all of the little bits of design structure. So for June, we are going to be delivering the colorway, which is what we're classifying or calling the design system structure for the landing page content type and all of its related components. I believe we have about 17, as well as the card and banner variations, which are the different styles that we showed you as well. What we won't be getting in this version is all the colorways for the branch, the camp, the facility content types, and their related components. That is going to be coming to you in September. Unfortunately, we bit off quite a bit more of a design system than we can deliver in one sprint. So we're going to step that one out. These will come with all the variations for borders and button styles, all et cetera, that we've got on the card, and we'll be happy to demo it for you. Now, the big piece of this is originally we were due to give all of this to you guys in June. Because we've delayed it to September, one of the questions that was in the chat was, is there an end of life for paragraphs? There is an end of life for paragraphs from a support perspective, and that will come September of 2024. So 1 year after we deliver you the full new system, you guys will have a full year to transition over. Now, what an end of life for paragraphs means for this structure just means that the components will be available to you. They're yours, they're on your site. You can continue to use them indefinitely. The only thing that will become important is the website services team won't be adding new features and functionalities to those components. So if you're looking for new features and functionalities, those will be available on the layout builder side of this structure. And that's where you'll be able to get them. Now, in addition to that, for December, for our Canadian team, we will be giving them the Canadian colorway, which will be coming then. We're just starting to draft that, and we'll be looking for some Canadians associations to help support, just to verify we've got the brand standards for Canada aligned. So I'll be reaching out to a few different Ys in Canada to support with that initiative. Okay, Shelley, can we go to the next one? I'm just quickly looking, seeing if there was any comments. Okay, so for September, what we have is the version 2 of the design system that we just went through. This will include the final version of Layout Builder, which will have your camps, facilities, preferred branches, and any of the new components. We have a new small banner and a couple icons that are coming there. We're going to start working on the promotional content type for that piece and hopefully get an MVP out there. The goal of promotional content type, just to be clear, is for in-house promotions. So you guys have a mechanism to display those, and we're going to have more information coming through those as those designs get drafted and realized. We're going to do a migration from CKAtor 4 to CKAtor 5, and then the final bit of accessibility audit remediation will take place there. There's some sandbox improvements from that perspective, and what that will be, we're hopeful, will be demo content that will be available to Ys when they download the system, so it'll come with some pre-populated approved content. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. So December, still room in December as we're looking for it, but this will have the final version of Design System 3, which will have the Canadian colorway, PHP upgrades. These are all some very fun stuff for the tech team, but just really important for you guys. We're working on the public roadmap site that's going to come through. We're going to do some advanced filtering. And then we're working on some schedule implementation, which isn't here, or it is here, weekly internal schedule management, as well as a few other things. So if people have some ideas for December, we'd love to hear it, but we're starting to work through December as well as March. And I think that's the last one of my slides. I'll pass it over to Avi.
Super. Cool. Yeah, so one of the other things that is coming very quickly down the pipe is Google Analytics 4. here, if you've logged into Google Analytics anytime in the last few weeks and you have not updated your properties to GA4, you will see this big scary countdown timer. It now has even fewer days on it than this screenshot indicates. That is helping guide you to set up your property to transition from any older version of Google Analytics to GA4, which is the current modern version that will go into effect, or sorry, the old versions will stop processing data on July 1st, 2023, as you can see here. So on the next slide. Yeah, so the end of UA is July 1st, as I said. So at the bottom of this post and in the chat, we will have some links with information on how to transition your sites. The important parts of this, I'm gonna paste here. Yeah, so the important, there are a few important parts to go into. There's a thing called parallel tracking. So you can enable parallel tracking so that you can collect data in both Universal Analytics and GA4 while you are configuring the transition. That's important because there's not a direct migration path for your data between Universal and GA4. So the second bullet indicates you need to review the data in Universal Analytics that is most important to you and figure out what you need to get out of there. And finally, just reviewing what your marketing needs are. Google has a whole suite of analytics tools, GTM, Tag Manager, that is Tag Manager. There are a whole bunch of other tools that are important to understand kind of your marketing needs holistically. So again, check out this blog post and the related video that help you with this transition. Going forward on the next slide. Sorry, there's noise. Okay, I just wanted to real quick go through the implementation path for you. So there are two ways to set up set up GA4 if you haven't made the transition already. There's using the Google Analytics module and then the Google Tag Manager. So if you don't have Tag Manager, your analytics needs are very straightforward. You just want to do some really basic data on who's using the site. The Google Analytics module is the easiest way to set this up. There isn't integration with any other tracking. There are some options to do things within GA. Sorry, Shelly, can you go back? Thanks.
Sorry. Ah.
There we go.
Got it.
Yep. So, and there, the Google Analytics module added support for GA4 a little bit like a year and change ago. And the website services distribution added support for that module in November 2021. So your site should be updated to the latest version of that module, and you should be able to just paste in your GA4 ID if that's the direction you choose. On the next slide. So if you do have more complex analytics needs, if you have a marketing person who's kind of working on all these things together, we recommend using the Google Tag Manager module to manage all of your tracking scripts. Google Tag Manager allows you to basically have one container on your site that adds Google Analytics, it adds tracking, from Facebook, Hotjar, any other things that you're doing. It lets you add those through Tag Manager so that you don't have to go and make changes in your Drupal code base every time you want to add a new tracking script. If you're doing a lot of marketing or you're iterating on things, if you have more complex marketing needs, this is really the recommended way to go. And again, the GTM module in Drupal has been stable for a long time. and it is there in the distribution. So you shouldn't need to do anything other than enable the module and add that container. Tag Manager is a little bit more complex than Google Analytics. So, you might need to work with a marketing specialist to get that set up. And I think that is it. I'm going to go check out any documentation that would help set up e-commerce in GTM for GA4. Yeah, Andrii is correct. There is a ton of stuff. There's a lot of things you can do with GTM and Google Analytics that is a little bit beyond the scope of most of our documentation. But if there is interest in that, that could be something where we could bring in a specialist for more details on a call in the future.
Yeah, in regards to Google Analytics version 4, in Google Analytics version 4 dashboard, there is a pretty good documentation and even predefined dashboard for e-commerce specifically. But we have no any specific documentation in regards to the CRM systems that are popular across the our community. So as Avi said, it's up to marketing specialists to figure that out, but we would like to gather any feedback from the community going forward, and we can put that to our documentation site.
Yeah. And we do have a few tickets in process that are going to more better enable tracking of some external links in the membership builder, in Activity Finder, some of the other places where folks are redirected out of the site. So making sure that the cross-site tracking is up to date.
Yep. Now let's go to the upgrade path piece. So there were a couple of questions from the community in regards to this red pop-up that you might see in your admin dashboard of your site, that there is a security update available for your version of Drupal. And what to do and what do not with this message. So first thing is, do not worry, because we, core team, monitoring security messages, security bulletin in Drupal. And if there are any critical security fixes that needs to be applied to the distribution, we are doing that right away and sending messages to the community. This is why we recommend, I just posted the link to the developer Slack channel. We recommend you to invite your development partner to the developer Slack channel. This is where we usually send messages about how important, or if we can skip specific security update to this developer channel. Recently, we sent out a message about a security issue with Activity Finder. It was a message for you to upgrade to latest version of Activity Finder or to apply a patch. Majority of you don't use Activity Finder, but anyway, you might already familiar with the messaging that we have. Just note about a couple of years in the past, we haven't seen any even zero-day security issues with Drupal. So we are on pretty safe state with the technology that we use in the core. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so a couple of words about key dates that we are aligning our roadmap and schedule, and the releases schedule too. So right now we are on the May 9. So we are on this, in this blue square, where we still have Drupal core 9.5 available, and it will be available up until the fall. So you still have plenty of time to be even on Drupal core 9.4, because it's going to be available to the mid of summer. But we recommend you to update your site and treat these updates specifically to the core as you do updates for your mobile phone. Sometimes it's showing you the balloon that there is an update, you just hit update, reboot your phone, and you are secure. In the same way, you can treat updates for the distribution especially when you are not on customized version of your site. But even if you are on pretty customized version of your site, core and a lot of models that we have in our distribution are safe to update without even major like regression issues. Just an example, today I updated site from Drupal 9.0 core to 9.5 with zero regressions. It's a couple of seconds. So it was not a big deal. The same thing should happen for your development partner, that we are not in the era of updating Drupal from Drupal 7 to Drupal 8. We are now in the way more better situation when even update from Drupal 9 to Drupal 10 is going to be easy for you. We are not yet in Drupal 10. It will be merged to for developers in a couple of days. But for the June release, we are on target for the Drupal 10. Here you can connect your plans to the specific dates. So in November, your site should be on Drupal 10. That's actual day when Drupal 9.5 will become end of life. And it will show you that red message in admin interface that it's not anymore secure. Will be your site easy to hack? No, but chances that because you are on outdated version of the core will be growing and growing the more you are into end of life era. Up to the next slide. I believe we missed it. Yeah, okay. So just a short update about PHP. We recommend you to update your site to PHP 8.1, and it will be available with us up until next year's spring. So in terms of technologies that we are relying on, we are pretty good shape. In terms of code, you see this timeline and bring this timeline in a discussion with your development plan. There is a question from Sarah. Is there a way that we can see our current Drupal version from site admin? Yes. When you go to the report and site status section, you'll see the version of Drupal core, version of PHP, and version of MySQL that your site is powered on. So if you are on Drupal 9.4 or 9.5, you are in a good shape. If you are on Drupal 9.3, we recommend you to upgrade to at least to 9.4. Jump from 9.3 to 9.4 is completely painless. From 9.3 to 9.5, there could be some issues with theme in admin interface, but we found almost zero regressions from the code. Thank you, Avi, for the link. Any questions to this?
Excellent.
Cool.
No, I think that was the only one there from Sarah. Sorry, I'm in a little bit of a noisy spot, so my apologies for the background noise. Our last slide here is just a reminder to all the community docs for everybody. We have our YouTube channels, GitHub, the docs. There's a lot of really solid information for people considering this, whether it's for the marketing department or your development department team or your IT department, it's all there. And we continue to invite you to join us in the Slack channel when and ever you can. I think the last slide will ask us if there's any questions for the floor, but please let us know if there is. Otherwise, we thank you again and always for your time, and we're so proud to build this distribution on you guys' behalf. Tom, anything from you?
No, nothing from this time.
I have a
Or this
question.
time, only to echo Kylie's sentiment. Thank you so much for being here, and with deep appreciation to the core team for your work and keeping us up to date, putting us into position to take advantage of Drupal, keeping our environment secure, being a knowledge base for us, and helping us understand best practice and how to approach website development. So thanks everyone. Thanks for everyone who gave us your time today. It's great to have you here, and look forward to seeing you again next month. Thanks, everyone.
There was a
Sorry, just one
question.
thing. There was a question. Jen, was that you?
Yes,
That
it was
Rebecca?
me. We recently got the new Dexco API and everything seemed fine. And I wondered if anyone else had this issue that just popped up, which is when you go to our schedules, the class descriptions aren't showing up anymore.
That's
You can,
fun.
yeah, you used to be able to pop, click on the class name and see the class descriptions. And now it just tells you when all of the iterations of that class are next. Like it's today at noon, and then it's also tomorrow at noon and Thursday at noon. It kind of pops up with all of your options for that class instead of showing you.
I don't think any of our teams have reported that, but
Okay.
Would
it
you
doesn't
mind-
mean that they won't in the coming days.
Yeah.
Would you mind sharing the URL where you're seeing that? We can check it out.
Yep, sure. We are YMCA NW.
If you just want to
Oh yeah, I
drop
can
it in
pop
the chat, it'll
Yeah,
be
sure.
that's probably going to be the easiest solution.
Yeah.
We can take a look. These to everybody in the community, when these things happen, typically it's helpful to report stuff. And often within the Slack channel, one of the things we find is that like Jen, she might be the first to notice it, but sometimes not the last. And it comes through relatively quickly. So we'll take a look, Jen, and see, and I'll
Great.
keep you abreast if we hear anybody else who has a very similar solution. But no, you're the first so far as
Right.
I'm aware.
I didn't notice it when we first got the API and only just started getting some member questions too, and by the time it gets to me, it's probably been 5 times they've answered that question and said, oh, it's probably just a glitch, and then eventually gets to me. So it could have been here from the beginning, or it could just be something that popped up yesterday.
Oh, no. Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Jen. Any last minute questions before we adjourn for the day?
Just to reiterate something that was in chat, Angie Evans asked if she needs to remove Google Universal Analytics tags from the site, and Andrii replied no. So yeah, those tags will stop collecting data, but they won't be harmful to the site. It's most important to go to Google, set up the new analytics, the new GA4, and get those into the site somehow.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your support, and we'll meet you next month and on the day of the next release. So our next community call is on the day of the release. So we will have a demo for you. So if you can make a community call, please make it that one. Bobby will prepare and Shelley will prepare a lovely demo with you along with Stasia, and we'll get that one ready to showcase. And we're very excited. All right, guys. Have yourself a wonderful Tuesday. Bye now.
Thank you, team.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care,
Bye,
everyone.
thank you.